guys, we are back with this video. This is a men only video, meaning if you are the other gender, which we do not speak of in this video, you are free to leave. This is a hangout session only with the boys, okay? Nothing personal. Maybe I'll make a video for you guys as well. If you want to, of course, I'll post it in the comments. If you are here, post them in the comments and I'll make a woman only video, even though I've done both, but I thought about doing one again, but today is only with the homies, okay? I thought about talking about red flags, mostly in women. Now they are gone, right? So it's fine. I won't get cancelled. They're gone. It's only with us, and I think all of us know these problems. But some are less fortunate with the intellect, so we must inform those as well, because we are all homies and we want the best for the homies, okay? Keep in mind, this can be applied to everyone, but I just wanted the homies to feel special. So that's what we're doing. I thought about mostly I will be probably talking about my own experiences and what I usually avoid and what I have seen, what something means. We'll talk about things that are in real life and also on the dating apps, okay? And what some things mean and what some things might not mean. But again, take it with a grain of salt because I am only talking about my own experiences, so it might be totally different for the other people. But let's pretend that we are all here trying to find a long-term partner, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's where the green and the red flags come from. So keep that in mind, okay? And totally different rules if you want something casual. I have noticed that in the dating apps, if they have a picture or a bio, if they have a picture of you've seen that they've done a lot of work to make themselves look a certain way. Like you can see that their lips been done, you see there's a lot of cake on her face, like a lot of makeup, her hair is done really well, and she's like in revealing clothes, and also is wearing a Gucci bag or something like that. I have noticed that those people on average are more shallow and full of themselves. It's like it's not always like that, but I think it comes down to like putting so much effort to oneself. It's not always like that, but when you put so much effort into yourself, so you think that you deserve it, and of course you do, but it's like you do it too much to the point where you expect that kind of treatment from other people as well. I guess that's what it comes down to. I've just noticed that those people have become really demanding something that shouldn't be really demanded. So it's like you have to do this, you have to be this, and if you're not this, then goodbye. Those types of people you should definitely avoid, and that's what I do usually. It's not always like that, but I have come to understand when I do match with those kinds of people, when they're like so much effort has been put into them. It's not like casual, it's like so much effort. When you're drinking like a bottle of alcohol or like in multiple pictures, for example, that is also a thing that I bios are the most boring people I've ever texted or talked with ever. Like, I'm serious. And that's not really the kind of person you would want to be talking to. The effort needs to be on the same level, because if one person is like super interested in talking and planning things and just in general trying to get to know you, and the other person is like replying to you maybe, you know, in 3 days each time, how can you get to know that person? It just takes too much time, even if they're talking well, which most of the time they're not, but even if they're talking well, it's still too much time apart. So the effort needs to be similar. You can't just do everything, you know, put everything to place and then they just reply like with one or two words and you do everything. It's like you are going to be dating yourself because they have no personality. They need to put in effort as well. And it's also crazy, like when people don't put, when they talk like one or two like words at a time, it's like they're not interested, but you both matched, and it's the beginning of talking. So it's like, why is nothing happening? I understand, like women have so many matches, like abundantly. I've seen like men do not have. So that's where the confusion comes from sometimes, and I understand like they have so many choices, like so many. So when someone is a bit boring for even 1 second, you can go to another one and they can be like less boring. But it's a bit messed up, I think, to think that way. Because at least try with one person for a while and then you can go to another one if you're not feeling the vibe. But if you're like boring for like 1 second and then you go to another one, it's like, that's kind of strange. So yeah, don't be boring in bio is usually a bad sign. Like bashing in general, and demanding in a bio is also a bad sign. It just shows no empathy, no self-reflection. Because I don't know why it's always when they demand and like bash or say don't be boring, they're the most boring person ever, and they don't know how to talk. And when you already demand something from your bio, it's not like you haven't even come to know this person. You're already demanding so many things from them. It's like, that's a bit strange. Like, how does it relate to other things in their life? That's what I usually think. Like, if they are so demanding, they can be demanding in other ways as well, and that means they usually lack empathy. So when I like read bios and shit and see pictures and stuff, that's what I think about. I go into like full depth analysis. It's probably not that deep, but I have become very good at it to avoid these kinds of people. Like, not even getting to meet them, because every time I have given them a chance when they go against everything that I know is good, but I'm like, oh, let's not be judgmental. Maybe it's a bit different. Every single time without fail, it has been a disaster, and I've been right like every single time. So I think I've become very good at detecting that crap. The person who is playing hot and cold, like you talk to them and everything is amazing, and all of a sudden they are very cold. I'm not even saying like in terms of words, they're more like in terms of absence, but sometimes also in terms of words. So it's like a bit weird, and I think you should avoid that kind of person, because you're here trying to get to know this person, putting your effort in and doing everything, and they do not do you think you have to do everything in terms of efforts, like be interesting and all and that stuff, and they don't have to do anything? You have to think like, what are they doing as well, and how would a person act if they are interested in someone? Like, think about yourself, what you do when you're interested in someone, and then compare that could have said, oh, okay, I'm going to bed. I mean, I'm not saying you need to do an all-nighter, and that shows how much you care. I'm just showing an example that if you really do like someone, you at least meet halfway. Even you show at least some kind of effort, at least a little bit. So even after you come home from work and you're tired, you still would like to talk with them, at least a little bit, because you are excited to talk with this person if you do like them. So all those excuses of like, sorry I'm busy with work, I'm sorry I'm busy with school, sorry I'm busy with my life, like of course they can be busy, but at the end of the day there's always like a small window where you can text, and you can always text like beforehand that you can't talk in those hours. You don't need to. You can just do the thing, and later when you do have the time, you can talk with them again. But there's never a thing like they don't have time or they're busy or something like that. It's all bullshit. Everyone has time, at least a little bit. At least a little bit. There are few exceptions, like maybe you ran out of internet, maybe you ran out of data or whatever, and you can't go to the internet. I mean, you still have time, but you just can't do, you know, you can't text because you don't have internet. So, things like that, yeah, I guess it's an exception, but usually, yeah, people have the time. If you're always the one texting first, stop for a second and then see if they would text first. If they never do, you need to drop them. It's as simple as that. I don't care how hard it is for you to text first. If you do like the person and you want say that it is controlling, but I just think that it is just very logical and a very disrespectful thing to do if you do go. So this makes complete sense to me. If you think it is me being insecure and controlling, then I am. If you think that, in terms of that, then yes, I would be insecure and controlling. If you think that makes me insecure and controlling if I don't allow my partner to go to a place where people will get most likely hit on, I think this is it for right now. I am sure I glossed over a lot of things. I didn't go into detail enough. I'm sure I didn't explain some things too well, but it's getting